development or the formation of interatrial septum. So let us consider this first diagram of the fetal heart, in which the atrial chamber will be undergoing division into right and left halves by the formation of two septum, septum primum and septum secundum. This is the sinoatrial orifice, which is the opening between the sinus venosus and the primitive atrium, which has narrowed down towards the right atrium, and this orifice is guarded by two valves, that is the right venous valve and this left margin is known as left venous valve. The right margin or the right venous valve and the left venous valve together joins cranially to form the septum spurium. This is the AV canal or atrioventricular canal, which will be soon divided into two halves, right and the left opening, by the fusion of two atrioventricular cushion. An anterior and a posterior atrioventricular cushion, they will fuse together. That will divide this AV canal into two openings. These fused atrioventricular cushions are together known as septum intermedium. Septum intermedium, which is basically the fused anterior posterior atrioventricular cushion. The first septum, that is the septum primum, arises from the roof of the atrium just left to the septum spurium and the left venous valve. So this is the septum primum. This septum primum then grows downwards towards the atrioventricular canal to get fused with this septum intermedium or the fused atrioventricular cushion. But we know that the right atrium receives the oxygenated blood from the placenta, and this oxygenated blood has to go to the left atrium here, so that oxygenated blood goes to the systemic circulation. Therefore, before fusion of this septum primum with the septum intermedium, there is a foramen or gap between the right atrium and the left atrium. This gap between the septum primum and the septum intermedium is known as foramen primum. As it is formed by the septum primum. Now, after the fusion of this septum primum with the septum intermedium, we can see here in this diagram, this is the fused septum primum with the septum intermedium. We can see in this diagram also that the foramen primum has been closed by the downward growth of the septum primum. But we have to maintain the blood circulation from the right atrium to the left atrium. Therefore, in the upper part of the septum primum here, cell death occurs, that is apoptosis occurs in the cells of the septum primum. That will lead to small perforations in this septum primum. These perforations will coalesce together to form a larger opening, and this opening will now be known as foramen secundum. This foramen secundum will ensure that the oxygenated blood is carried from the right atrium to the left atrium. Now we can see that the remaining lower part of the septum primum has a free upper edge. Now a second septum known as septum secundum will arise from the roof of the atrial chamber just to the right of the septum primum and to the left of the septum spurium. This was the septum secundum. Okay. With the downward growth of this septum secundum, this septum secundum will gradually overlap the upper free margin of the septum primum. Here you can see it is the lower margin of the septum secundum is overlapping the upper free margin of the septum primum. But to maintain the flow of the oxygenated blood from the right atrium to the left atrium, there is always an interval between the septum secundum and the septum primum, this gap. This slit-like gap between the lower part of the septum secundum and the upper free edge of the septum primum is known as foramen ovale. This foramen ovale will ensure the entry of the blood from the right atrium to the left atrium, but not from the left atrium towards the right atrium. This is due to the rigid nature of this septum secundum. Therefore, the blood in the right atrium can push the septum primum toward this side so that this gap can be opened. But when the blood in the left atrium will push the septum primum, it has to push against this septum secundum. Therefore, this opening will get closed. But due to the flow of blood into the left atrium from the pulmonary veins, the pressure in the left atrium will increase. Therefore, it will push the septum primum towards the septum secundum, and this foramen ovale will get functionally closed. At 3 months of age, this foramen ovale will also get anatomically closed. So, at birth, it gets functionally closed due to the increased pressure in the left atrium, and at 3 months of age, it gets anatomically closed. Points to be noted here are that this remaining lower part of the septum primum is also called as valve of foramen ovale, okay. This septum spurium and the left venous wall here to here, with development or absorption of the sinus venosus into the right atrium, this septum spurium and the left venous wall will get fused with this septum secundum, okay, and the right venous wall will form the valve of the inferior vena cava, valve of the coronary sinus, and the crista terminalis. So here we can also see that the upper part of the interatrial septum here is also contributed by the septum spurium. This knowledge is very, very important to know the embryological basis of the sinus venosus type of atrial septal defect. Now, in terms of adult anatomy, the lower free margin of the septum secundum, this will form the annulus ovalis or limbus ovalis that surrounds the fossa ovalis from the superior as well as in the anterior part, and a small part posteriorly also, okay, and the septum primum will form the fossa ovalis, this area. So this is the fossa ovalis, and this is the annulus ovalis, or limbus ovalis, which will be formed by the lower free margin of the septum secundum, and the fossa ovalis here, this area, will be formed by the septum primum. Okay. Now we will study about the different heart defects based on the development or formation of the interatrial septum. First is the propatency. or pro-patent foramen ovale. In this, a simple probe can be passed through this foramen ovale, but this pro-patent foramen ovale will not be able to cause any functional intracardiac shunting of blood from the right atrium towards the left atrium. Therefore, the patient will not be clinically symptomatic. This occurs in approximately 25% of people. Second is the atrial septal defect. Atrial septal defect. The atrial septal defect can be clinically divided into 4 types. First is the ostium secundum type. In ostium secundum type, there is a large foramen ovale. This large ovale foramen is due to the increased absorption of the septum primum. So this foramen ovale will get enlarged, or due to the defective formation of this septum secundum. Therefore, this foramen secundum remains and it is known as ostium secundum type of defect. The ostium secundum type of defect is the most common atrial septal defect. Second type is endocardial cushions or atrioventricular cushion defect. In this, the septum intermedium, that is formed by the fusion of the anterior and the posterior endocardial or atrioventricular cushion, has not formed due to the non-fusion of these endocardial cushions. And this endocardial cushion is important not only for the division of the AV canal or atrioventricular canal into right orifice and the left orifice, but also in the development of a small part of the interventricular septum. Here, interventricular septum, that is the membranous part. Also, the septum primum has to fuse with the endocardial cushion. Therefore, when the endocardial cushion fails to fuse, there will be defect in the lower part of the septum primum, because the septum primum will not fuse with the endocardial cushion. Also, a defect in the upper part of interventricular septum, plus there is a persistent atrioventricular canal because there is no division to right and the left orifice. There can be another type of endocardial cushion defect in which there is a partial fusion of this endocardial cushion, in which due to the partial fusion of the endocardial cushion, the membranous part of interventricular septum has formed, but the septum primum has not fused with the endocardial cushion. So therefore, there is a patent ostium primum defect. This is known as ostium primum defect due to the defect in the septum primum. This endocardial cushion defect, which is associated with a persistent AV canal, also known as AV septal defect, is commonly associated with the Down syndrome. Now the third type, that is the sinus venosus type of defect. In this, there is incomplete absorption of the sinus venosus into the right atrium. Therefore, the septum spurium and the left venous wall fails to fuse with the septum secundum. Therefore, there is a defective formation of septum secundum in the upper part. Therefore, in this condition, there is a defect in the upper part of interatrial septum. Also, sometimes there can be a septal defect in the lower part of the interatrial septum, as the right venous wall will be forming the valve of the inferior vena cava and valve of the coronary sinus, which are closely related to the lower part of the septum primum. Therefore, due to the non-formation of these valves, there can be a defect in this lower part of the septum primum. So we can say here that defect lies in two areas. The most common is the upper part of interatrial septum, just in relation with the opening of the superior vena cava. Also, sometimes, very rarely, it can be found in the lower part of the interatrial septum in relation with the opening of the inferior vena cava. Now the fourth type, that is the common atrium type, also known as cor triculare biventriculare. Basically, This type of defect is a combination of ostium secundum, ostium primum, and sinus venous types of defect. In this, the septum secundum as well as the septum primum does not form. Therefore, the atrial chambers are not divided into two, right and the left atrium. There is a common atrium. Therefore, this type of defect, which is a very rare defect and a serious type of defect, is known as common atrium type of defect. Thank you very much.